integrated pest management lab. If you guys have plants at home or you've ever visited a garden or a greenhouse, you're probably no stranger to pests, and neither are we. We have lots of them. So we have many different ways of managing pests here at the land. The first is something we call cultural control, which is physical things we are doing. So things like cleaning our tools in between each plant, that way we're not transmitting anything. We grow a lot of plants up off the ground that don't normally grow that way to prevent bugs from getting on them. That's the water.
Is it loud enough?
It wasn't working. Oh.
Exact thing. We're just doing it in sterile culture. We do about 15, but you can check those out from the boat ride. We have, I think, dwarf plum trees in them right now. They are meant to grow plants on space, like in space, like on the space station. All right, so we are here in the creative greenhouse now. This is my favorite greenhouse because this is the one I worked in for a year. So these are the plants I know the best and the systems I know the best. If you want to get really technical, Mimosa pudica is their scientific name. So give them a few touches and keep coming around so everyone can see him. The sensitive plant does what it does because it doesn't want to be eaten. Okay, he thinks you're a bunch of deer trying to munch on him. He's like, don't eat me!
Is that cool?
Has the texture of like floral foam or insulation, which is kind of fun. Now keep in mind, these are soilless. They don't contain nutrients, but rock wool holds on to a little bit of water. All of our water has our nutrient solution in it. So we like to start most of our plants in rock wool, and I'll try to point it out to you as we go around. It's light and really airy. It provides lots of nooks and crannies for the roots to grow around. We use tons of perlite. For example, the little vertebra systems right here are all perlite. And then any pot or raised bed that you see anywhere in the greenhouses is a 50-50 mix of perlite and peat moss. So lots of perlite. And they are thin skinned. So I have been told they taste like delicious crunchy water. I'll never know. Where they prep the diets for all the animals, their nutrition center. There's zero waste over there.
I like it.
The lean and lower tomatoes over here, that's a pretty fun system. So you train the tomato up a string, there's a pulley at the top. As the tomato grows taller, you can lean it over and eventually it's like going around and around and around. Makes it nice and easy to harvest the fruit though, nice and low. Very common commercial system. Directly across the boat ride from us are some cucumber plants. Those are the cucumbers that you guys tried today. That's the exact plants they came from. We're gonna see some smaller cucumbers in a little bit, but those are where your cucumbers came from. Then we have some sweet potatoes. Now, you can see we've got the red basket tied up. That's how we get them to grow in the sky. We grow the potatoes in the basket, once the potatoes are in there, we take the basket down, voila. Not a lot of water, just a little bit. But it's spreading out down the tray, get some, and then it goes inside the water as well. Now, we have about 500 heads of lettuce in each table, and harvest one table every week. So it's about 2,000 heads of lettuce in a month. From seed to harvest on the lettuce is 6 weeks, so we start the backstage in 2 weeks and we come up to 4. We can make all kinds of fun patterns with them, which I'm sure you've seen. If you haven't covered it, you can look it up yet. It's a frog and a lotus flower from Princess and the Frog. It's a brand new presentation of this here. And then, lettuce does not like to grow in Florida. It's really warm here. Lettuce doesn't like it. So we trick it. We have tillers on both sides of the boat right to close the water down. Now when the lettuce says, okay, I guess I'll go here. The core of it, and the core of what we're doing here and living with the land, is that this is to teach people. So we want to teach people how things grow, where things grow, how do they grow, how can you grow it, that sort of thing, versus harvesting it all and going to restaurants. So oftentimes in our other greenhouses, for example, when you're on the boat ride, you go into the big domed greenhouse and there's some pineapples right by the side of the boat. There are 12 pineapple plants there. It is way more important to us that 100,000 people go on the boat ride that day and learn how a pineapple grows versus us harvesting those 12 pineapples and sending them to a restaurant. So that's really where our impact is. What we do produce here and what does go to restaurants is pretty much just like overflow extra. Like, this is fun that we are able to provide this for you, not because Disney World wants to grow their own food. We want to teach people how to grow their own food. So that's what that's all about, is learning. It's 3 to 5 feet deep. Anywhere you see it, it's quite deep. I have been waist deep in it before and not at the bottom, so it's very deep. Underneath every plant you can see is a massive sprawling irrigation system. So we're using sand for 2 reasons. One, to show you that you can grow plants anywhere. This is and 2, it's Disney World, it has to look nice, right? It's doing okay. All of this to say, everything you see in these greenhouses is trial and error. We have more creative freedom here at the land than any other ride in Walt Disney World. We can literally change the boat ride experience by changing the plants, and we don't have to ask an engineer. That is like impossible to find anywhere else. You want to change anything, you got to call an engineer and they're like, fill out this 80-page document. You don't have to do that. We have 3 here and 3 across the boat ride. We could harvest all of the coffee from all 6 of our trees over the course of a year and like barely have enough to make a cup of coffee. It takes 80-ish beans to make a cup of coffee. Each little coffee cherry, and they're really small right now, they're not ripe yet, they're little green cherries. They turn red when they're ripe. You have to hand harvest them. You have to husk them, roast them, grind them, and it's like a 12-step process. And then you can make coffee with it, and that's why it's like $8 for a Starbucks, right? It's crazy. But it's very labor intensive. Planters right here are called winter melon. Once they get big and strong, the melon itself is like 80 pounds. That's kind of fun. Let's see, what else? See those plants with the red peppers on them? Those are Carolina Reaper peppers. Like growing your whole day, Carolina Reaper peppers. Other fun things. So, have you guys been to Animal Kingdom yet?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the baby tiger?
No.
Okay, well go see the baby tiger. His name is Boxo. Now, the reason I bring up tigers on our plant tour is because a lot of what we harvest here actually does go over to Animal Kingdom for the animals. Different enrichment, different treats, things like that. One of the things we said is the lemongrass, that big bushy plant right there. Lemongrass goes over for the tigers and the hippos. They like to roll around in it. It smells nice. It's very fun. Around the corner because aquaculture. Aquaculture is fish farming. It is the fastest growing sector of agriculture, which is awesome. 50% of seafood harvested worldwide comes from aquaculture, which is awesome. The only one that number keeps going up. Historically, humans have not been very good at harvesting seafood sustainably. The more we can rely on aquaculture, the less we have to rely on So we have the freshwater shrimp behind me. They are not being harvested. They are just for show. They are just for people to do, okay? Just for a real shrimp farm, they're doing 100,000. They're just for budgets. Now we are growing 3 different types of fish that are harvested in the restaurants at Walt Disney World. We're growing channel catfish, which is the #1 harvest. However, you could probably go out into the world and find a tilapia swimming around in a mud puddle, and it would be perfectly happy, okay? They're a very hardy creature. They're also incredibly efficient. You feed them a pound of food, they grow almost a pound. That's crazy. That 1-to-1 ratio is like pretty much impossible to find, and tilapia are about as close as anybody's ever going to get. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So this is a vanilla bean plant. Normally I don't snap right now, but it's got tons of flowers on it, which is super cool. The flowers only stay open for about a day, and you have to hand pollinate it. Then it takes the plant a full year to make the bean. Then it takes, once you harvest it, another full year to dry out that bean. That's why vanilla is so expensive. It's a 2-year process just for one bean. Well, in all of our greenhouses, we grow about 150 species of plants. And here in Tropics, we're growing about 85 of them. This is really where the diversity lies. I'll turn to funny corner. Now, you can get lots of colored peppercorns from the black pepper vine, so it's not all just black pepper. You can see lots of the little green ones. These guys are not ripe yet, but it's got lots of peppercorns on them right now. When they're ripe, they turn red. You can harvest them then, you can harvest them now. You wait till they're fully dried out and they're black, so you get red, green, black.